Good morning, everybody.
Yay! You got a Mike and Kim video today. It's been a little while, hasn't it, friends?
Hope all of you had a wonderful Christmas holiday. I know we did.
Yes, and a Happy New Year is coming since today happens to be
the 30th.
The 30th of December 2016. New Year's is just a day away, yeah. So we hope that everybody's New Year will be filled with good health, peace, and love.
Yeah, and thank you so much, everybody, for your Christmas cards and for your donations. Some of you haven't put your email in the PayPal thing, and so I haven't been able to personally email you back. And thank you. So thank you so much for your support. We really appreciate it. And we want to, thank all of you at the end of this year for all the love and support that you have given us, because we couldn't do this on our own. We just
appreciate your comments under our YouTube channel, because as most of you know, Kim and I, we just don't have time to take a look at our comments. We're just inundated with, the comments and the emails coming in through our Facebook and also Watchtower .exposed. So thank you very much for your supporting us
and patience
in the comment section.
And patience,
yes.
Because I know some of you think I have forgotten you or ignored you, and no, I haven't. I'm about halfway through October's emails, so
yeah,
just to let you know that I haven't forgotten you and I'm not ignoring you.
So please keep them coming. No, really, keep them coming.
Today's video, Mikey.
Holy cow.
Don't you think it's a little early for a rant?
Well, no. It's not too early for a rant. It's just too damn early for M&Ms.
I mean, I just barely had coffee. I'm not awake yet here. Too early for a rant. Okay.
Yes, as the title suggests, Watchtower craps on America's favorite pastime. But this is going to be good because Watchtower...
Busted.
We're turning the tables on you boys. I'm telling you, with this one, the tables are going to get turned on you and every Jehovah Witness that enjoys playing a game of ball.
Well, I just want to mention that before I read this, of how I found this. 'Cause we have all the Bond volumes, but I mean, who has the time to go through every single Bond volume, or to just think of something to look up? But my books and magazines that are under my desk fell over, and I was like putting them in a pile.
Don't mislead our viewing audience.
Well, I was trying to be nice.
I kicked him over. That's what happened. That's what really
kicked him over.
I kicked him over.
So I was trying to straighten them up, and this old awake just happened to have been on top, and it jumped out at me, and I'm like, what in the world?
So I took it to work and read it, and it's like, well, to quote Harry Carey, God rest his soul, holy cow! Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the park.
Okay, now what I have here, and I'm going to put the link to this down below in the description. This is the town of Warwick planning and zoning. Now, this is Watchtower's final finding statement that they do before they were going to start building Warwick. And so it's a few years old, but I just want to read this. On page 31, section 1, which is the bottom half of the page, visual character. And I'm going to go about halfway through the first paragraph. As proposed, the new buildings will consist of a total footprint of approximately 360,000 square feet. The maximum height of any building is 60 feet. The outdoor recreation facilities are comprised of 2 tennis courts, a basketball court, and 2 sand volleyball courts of regulation size. These are located southeast of the proposed buildings and will be set back from Long Meadow Road. Now, I'm not going to go on and read it. Like I said, you can click on the link below and go look at this whole final findings. Now, you may be wondering, what in the world is Mike and Kim talking about? What are they going to be doing today? Surprise!
In the May 22nd, 1958 awake, the benevolent collective wisdom of the writers of the Watchtower Bible Tract Society got their hands on a book that was written by historian Robert William Henderson, entitled Ball, bat, and bishop.
And guess what? For once, they finally did quote a real historian.
This guy is recognized. You Google the book Ball, Bat, and Bishop by Robert William Henderson, and the book reviews, those that are giving reviews acknowledge that he is a well-researched historian. But the name of this article is Baseballs.
Religious Beginnings.
Now, I find it kind of ironic that just the title suggests that because it has a false religious beginning, because you see, in Watchtower's collective wisdom, they have demonized and paganized every other religion on this earth as absolutely false, and you can have nothing to do, anything to do with a false religious beginning, such as, celebrating Christmas, or believing in the cross, or anything that has to do with a false religious background. And baseball does. So does other sports that Watchtower fails and neglects to mention in this particular article. But since we have the review of the book in front of us, we're going to mention a few others that Watchtower, conveniently left out.
So after this is done, witnesses, you cannot go play baseball after the meetings.
No, you can't because,
or on a Saturday after service.
Let me just get into the third paragraph here. Historian Robert William Henderson, who squeezed many years of research on baseball's origins in his book Ball, Bat, and Bishop, has arrived at some interesting conclusion. Now Watchtower is going to validate the book. Listen to the words, which appear to be clear-cut, complete, and convincing. So Jehovah's Witnesses, Watchtower just took the whole argument out of your narrative. You can no longer play the game of baseball because what Robert William Henderson arrived at is clear-cut, complete, and convincing. Game over. You can't play baseball no more because you are participating. Well, let me go on. Henderson repeatedly proves that all modern games are derived from, all modern ball games are derived from religious rites of ancient times. The historian places the first recorded batting contest in Egypt some 4,000 years ago. Wow, it's a religious rite. But there's more.
See, all ball games, and that's why I read about the recreational
Tennis ball,
facilities at Warwick.
Basketball, volleyball, they all have beginnings in false religious practices. But there's a little bit more involved because this historian goes so far as to actually name the god that these games are dedicated to. And, let's just throw a question out there. When you think about baseball bats, what does a baseball bat resemble and what does a ball resemble? Oh, let's see. The male penis and the egg. You hit the egg, you hit the ball, and it becomes fertilized. But wait a minute, even young people dating today, don't they use baseball terms and equate those with, some sort of conquest, some sort of fertility, right?
Well, I don't know about today in this generation, but I know back in the old days, you got to first base, oh boy.
Yeah, I got to second base last night. Oh my God, I hit a home run. We all know what that means, being of the older generation. Today, I think they kind of changed it. Well, we just hooked up last night.
I think nowadays they call it Netflix and something or other. Mm-hmm. Or dinner and a movie or whatever.
So going on with this wonderfully well-researched article in Watchtower's collective benevolent wisdom.
You mean dumbassery?
Well, that too. Bat-swinging Egyptians had a religious rite. Bat-swinging Egyptians had a religious rite. Henderson says, where the congregation met the priests, congregation met the priests in image of the sun god Osiris, resembling a ball, was placed on a cart. Armed with clubs or bats, the worshippers of Osiris would, with swinging clubs, rush the image into the temple of Paprimus. I'm going to do my own little ... because a lot of this has to do with explaining more of the religious rites of this particular ball game. The deeper the conviction, the harder the worshiper would strike. Though many, a head would be split, in bones bruised or broken in the effort, Osiris, the god of agriculture and fertility, was always hailed the victor. So, every time a Jehovah's Witness plays a baseball game or any ball game, because we're going to read something a little bit further here off of the review in this book. But every time they play any type of ball game, you are now honoring and worshiping the god of fertility, Osiris.
Well, that's what Watchtower is saying.
Well, that's what they were dumb enough to put this out in a narrative back in 1958, May 22nd awake. And, here again, this is how these cults operate, to captivate your mind, to make you see how bad, how demonistic, how they got to demonize everything in this world by going back to false, pagan religious practices.
Everything that you could get enjoyment of life out of, they have to demonize and bash.
They absolutely destroy.
Yeah.
Going on, the first female ball games originated about that time, according to the historian. Balls, which at various times in history represented the sun and the moon, also growth and fertility, became a part of the Egyptian spring rite. Now, let's keep in mind that in ancient times, many ball games were played with actual human heads, and some were even shrunken heads. So you can throw that into the narrative, but it's interesting how, Henderson makes that connection in his book, but Watchtower leaves that out.
Well, what's interesting is they also leave out the history that Aztecs and Mayans had a ball game. And a lot of times they would use heads of their victims. And what's interesting about that is, Watchtower would bash them because the losers would be sacrificed.
Well, let's take a look at this right here. Since the ball, we read also fertility, yeah. Since the ball game, since the ball came to be, yeah, I don't have my glasses. Yeah, I see you out of the corner of my eye. I see that.
You want me to read it then?
No, I got it. Since the ball game, here I go again. Since the ball came to be a symbol of potency, ball tossing games were commonly played with women. Sometimes female virgins would join in the battles at the temple of Paprimus. If any of the maids died of wounds suffered during the struggle, they were called false virgins. Carved into the tomb of Benny Hassan, I don't know, some Egyptian name, which was built about 2000 BC, are pictures of semi-nude women playing ball. Now wait a minute, when I was a Jehovah's Witness playing, a spring rite after the meeting on Sunday, how come none of you sisters got half naked? No, I want to know.
Oh, I'm sure you do.
Yeah, that would have made the game much more interesting, wouldn't it? At a much later date, naked women were. Oh, that's even better. At a much later date, naked women are seen to engage in ball games designed to encourage rainfall. Come on, Watchtower. I mean, did you, when you guys were trying to read this book and put together some sort of intelligent article, did you not think, 50, 60 years down the line, what a mockery you would be made of with this now?
That's an oxymoron. Watchtower's writing department and intelligent writing.
They don't go together.
That's an oxymoron.
Yeah, they just don't go. They don't go together.
Let me read the next one.
Yeah, sure. I'll let you read a paragraph or two.
Okay. The ancient Greeks and Romans also played ball games, but their games were of a different nature. They used a large ball of the medicine ball variety. This ball was tossed about and exercised for the purpose of developing a beautiful body.
So you mean they were encouraging narcissism?
Yeah.
Cool!
Ancient doctors would tell their patients to play a game of ball where the doctor of today prescribes a diet of pills. Well, I mean, we also know that physical exercise is good no matter what. It doesn't have to be a narcissistic thing.
See, and this is where the hypocrisy comes in, because instead of Watchtower, nowhere in this article do they recommend playing a ball game for the benefit of exercise and health. This whole article is geared towards demonizing or making baseball games or any ball games a pagan religious rite. Now, isn't it interesting, as you read in the beginning, in their cult compound in Warwick, they have courts that are designed to practice this pagan religious rite.
Well, Watchtower, instead of using developing a beautiful body, they should have said a healthy body.
A healthy body, exactly.
Okay, the next subheading, ball games in Europe. Religious ball games spread from the Egyptians to the Arabs and into the southern part of Europe by way of the invading Moors. Apostate Christians adopted the pagan ball practice in their Easter ceremony.
So, when Watchtower goes to the length of building tennis courts, basketball courts, volleyball courts, in their cult compound in Warwick, are now showing that they have adopted apostate Christian practices.
So if this in Europe had pagan Easter holiday Easter ceremony roots, then what's the difference between that and Christmas? Celebrating Christmas?
There is no difference.
Hypocrisy! Okay, down to the next paragraph. We may go further, says this historian, and claim that the association of the pagan fertility ball rite with the Easter festivals was deliberately fostered by the Roman Catholic Church. For its usual policy was to adapt to or incorporate into its ceremonies those pagan customs which it found too firmly established to be uprooted or to be susceptible of adaptation. I can't talk today.
Maybe you should take your glasses off.
It's because I've got a cold. So I don't know if you want to wait to read that paragraph and we go read a little bit here. This is an excerpt from Ball, Bat, and Bishop.
Now, obviously, in this article, they have the concluding paragraphs, which is pretty much a page. Baseball comes to America. They say no one knows exactly how baseball came to America. It's mostly likely brought over by English children, but there was no way to prove it. And then they go on and talk a little bit how the game developed, things like that. But then they go down to the I'm going to go down to the last two paragraphs. So, in interest developed and time passed. Technicalities and new rules began to creep in until baseball became shaped into what we know the game to be today. Even though ball games, see, they don't specifically say baseball at this point. Even though ball games can be traced back to ancient Egypt it would be a stretching. It would be stretching a point to say they resemble modern baseball. I'm going to stop right there.
So what about Christmas?
And repeat this. It would be stretching a point to say they resemble modern baseball. It would be stretching a point, Watchtower, to say that modern Christian Christmas
resembles the
pagan the holiday. See, your words now
hypocrisy
can be turned around and shoved right back down your throat, and I hope you choke on them. Perhaps the only remaining, so there is still religious connections to this ancient ball game. Perhaps the only remaining similarity to the ancient Egyptian spring rite, given in honor of Osiris, lies in the tools of the game. The ball and the bat. And that's what I said earlier about the ball resembling the male penis.
The bat?
The bat and the ball resembling the female egg. But we all know that Jehovah's Witnesses are very much used to handling
their phallic symbols.
The male phallus symbol, as pointed out several years ago in our videos regarding subliminal images. There it is, Jehovah's Witnesses. Every time you put this wonderful little songbook in your hand, you are shoving the chute right up into your God's nose. But all along, it's really an Egyptian rite of passage to hold a penis like this, isn't it?
Well, I know of another connection. When does baseball start?
Starts in the spring.
Spring rite.
It's a spring rite.
It's a spring rite.
Exactly.
Okay, now I'm going to put the link down below to this also. It is a review of the book Ball, Bat, and Bishop by Robert W. Henderson. And I'm going to go down to, the third paragraph. Henderson traces the origins of ball sports to religious rites in ancient Egypt, where the ball, perhaps a shrunken head, represented a fertility symbol, and opposing teams engaged in mock combat, signifying the struggle of good against evil. Centuries later, pagan fertility rites featuring the ball were adapted by the Christian Church as rituals symbolic of Easter and the resurrection. Court tennis was also firmly rooted in the church, the earliest players being the bishops, canons, and clerics who played in their cloistered courtyards. And Watchtower has 2 at Warwick.
So there's their connection to Babylon the Great. They still play the same games. They still play the same ball games. Interesting. A bunch of hypocrites. These idiots, these monkeys' asses at the typewriters, and these guys that are doing research, they don't have a freaking clue what they put in their magazines because they don't care. All they want to do is sell and peddle magazines because this is not a religion. This is nothing but a publishing corporation.
Now, before you read that and go into the other article, I want to point out that now, because of all of this literature, and we know they have changed literature, by time it goes to a bond volume, it's been changed. By time it gets to a CD-ROM, it's been changed or deleted entirely. You cannot find the Trinity brochure on the CD-ROM anymore.
Or you cannot find where they misquoted Professor Rama Singh.
Yeah. Unless you have the hard copy that first came out beginning of last year, which we do.
These guys are masters of deception, and what Kim's about to read shows that they become even more of a magician.
Yeah. So we have a letter to all congregations dated December 26, 2016, regarding the Watchtower Library 2016 edition. Each year, many brothers and sisters look forward to receiving their new edition of Watchtower Library, which is now being produced in over 60 languages. Hang on to your old ones. The 2015 edition of Watchtower Library included a feature that could be used by those having internet access. With that feature, the data could be updated around the middle of the year. Changed. With that one-time update, publications released in the first half of 2016 were added and could be included in searches done thereafter. Here comes the important part. Beginning with the 2016 edition, updates will become available about once a month. Thus, after you install this edition and choose automatic or manual updates, the program can obtain current publications over the internet or changes of new light.
That's right.
For example, issues of the Watchtower that you have recently studied or will soon study in the congregation will be added to Watchtower Library. Additionally, at the end of 2017, you will not need to request a new DVD. You can continue to use the edition you already have. They save money. It will regularly be updated with publications as they are released and will include any new program features that may be added.
Or changes needed.
Or flip-flop of doctrines or changes.
Yeah. So
we're not dummies. We know what they're going to do.
We know what's going to happen. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
These guys, they're not interested in truth.
And they save money.
Absolutely. So when I got done reading the article on how Watchtower craps all over America's favorite pastimes, I happened to flip over to another page.
Page 25.
And it's entitled, Your Word is Truth, John 17:17. And it asks the question, is it right to change religions?
Not if you're a witness.
Not if you're a Jehovah's
You get
Witness.
spiritually executed.
This little 1-page, 2-page article
Jim.
really goes into why Jehovah's Witnesses, well, let me just read a paragraph, part of a paragraph. Jehovah's Witnesses are not out preaching to get people to change their religion.
Yes, you are.
Yes, you are. You are, because having been you for 42 years, I know the mindset.
You have to go save them so they don't die at Armageddon.
Exactly. See, their God-given commission is to preach the good news of the kingdom and to get people to examine their religion in the light of God's word, the Bible.
But witnesses won't do that.
Well, the
we
problem
have the
is,
truth.
Exactly right. But the problem becomes that years later, or decades later, in Kim and I's case, when you begin to re-examine the Watchtower bullshit, you don't have that right to change religion without there being consequences. That right, Watchtower? Oh yeah, we have the right to change our religion, and that's what you tell all the governments of the world. That's what you tell all the courts of the world. Well, you have that right. But you don't ever conclude that sentence by saying, well, but there are consequences.
In fact...
This is where they're lying hypocrites.
In fact, stay tuned after we say goodbye in this video, because I am going to put in a clip of what I did with Watchtower's bullshit.
Yeah. So anyhow, I just found it interesting that this particular article encourages one to examine their religion and make the changes that are necessary. But there again, Watchtower doesn't tell you the consequences of leaving their religion.
Well, I like this one here on page 26, the first full paragraph, I think it is. But is it right for one to change from the religion of his father or mother? Yes, if that religion is not in keeping with God's word. It would be foolish not to change. If changing one's religion were wrong, then the preaching of Jesus and his disciples was wrong, because they urged the people to abandon the religious traditions of their fathers and turn to Christianity as the way of life. And Jesus Christ said that he was the way.
He was the way.
Not an organization, or not that he would give any of us an organization. He is the way. It's that simple.
Exactly. So it's just hypocrisy. So I guess in conclusion here, I just want to make a statement. You know, Watchtower, the next time you boys sit down with your, collective wisdom and decide to crap on another one of America's traditions or any of the world's tradition, why don't you look in the mirror and start taking that shit, start taking that crap off your own faces. Now, I got a new ball game for Christmas. I'm going to go play. Bye.
You all have a wonderful day and have a happy new year, and we love you all.
Bye.
I have been told that my little Bursa 380 can't even shoot bullshit. So we're going to test this out. Well, as you can see, a 380 can go through bullshit, and that makes a big hole.